Y'all, Raven Symoné just cracked the Hollywood silence wide open. And what she's spilling might send Tinseltown's plastic smile straight through a paper shredder. In a no-holds-barred bombshell sit-down, Raven didn't just accuse Bill Cosby of being inappropriate with young women on set. She painted him as a ringmaster of a full-blown predator circus. According to her, he groped, he threatened, and he told her point-blank that if she ever squealed, she'd vanish just like Malcolm Jamal Warner. Let that marinate. He said I'd disappear like Malcolm. That wasn't just drama, it was a roadmap, a threat with footnotes, a villain's confession wrapped in a whisper. Raven says Cosby didn't just envy Malcolm's success, he straight up loathed losing control. Malcolm was fresh-faced, loved, clean-cut, and skyrocketing. Cosby, a crumbling relic wrapped in paranoia, and Raven swears the set's vibe was so tense you could slice it with a subpoena. Then bam, Malcolm drowns in Costa Rica. Bo, come on. Raven's not sugarcoating it. She claims Malcolm's death wasn't tragic timing, it was a silencing strategy. A message to anyone thinking of challenging Mr. Cliff Huxtable's dark empire. And Raven? She's not whispering anymore, she's torching the whole playbook. She's airing out the lies, dragging the cover-ups, and torching those creepy whispered threats, and she's not sugarcoating it, she's calling it what it is: murder. So here's a million-dollar question. Why is Hollywood still sitting in silence? Why are folks still too scared to say Bill Cosby's name without whispering? Because this wasn't about protecting a reputation, it was about wiping out anyone who dared to crack his carefully polished mask. This isn't just a scandal, baby. It's a covert war. And Raven Symoné just lit the match. Imagine finding out that behind America's so-called favorite father figure was a man wrapped in manipulation, abuse, and something even darker, a sick obsession with control that might have cost someone their life. Because we're not just unpacking Hollywood drama here, we're talking calculated silence, cold-blooded cover-ups, toxic envy, and truths buried beneath decades of fake laughs and phony curtain calls. And Raven, she's officially done guarding monsters in million-dollar suits. In this world-exclusive tell-all, she didn't just spill the tea, she flipped the whole damn table, set the kettle ablaze, and left the building smoking. People think I stayed quiet because I was scared, she said. Nah. I stayed quiet because they made sure I was, because I was threatened, because I watched what they did to Malcolm. So let's take it back, rewind to the glory days of The Cosby Show, when Raven was America's golden girl. All sass and sparkles lighting up our screens. But behind the glitz, Cosby allegedly had something else go in his own twisted little script. Raven says he touched her inappropriately more than once, always behind closed doors, always with the same cold, smug line, "No one will believe. You're just a kid. I built you," and the sickest, he wasn't wrong. Back then, who would have taken a kid seriously accusing America's beloved TV dad of anything more than being moody? But as Raven tells it, the violation was just the beginning. The real horror started when she tried to break the silence. "I told someone in production," she said. "They told me to shut it down, said I'd ruin careers, that I'd never work in this town again." And then the phone rang. Bill Cosby himself, cool as ice, warning her, "You'll disappear just like Malcolm will if he doesn't learn his place." That one line haunted her for years. She was just a child, but that call, it aged her like a trauma time bomb. Raven says Cosby didn't just intimidate, he watched. Everywhere, the studio, her dressing room, behind the scenes, he had eyes. He knew, and he made damn sure she knew he knew. But here's a real burning question: why Malcolm? Because what the public never saw was that Malcolm Jamal Warner wasn't just the golden boy on screen, he was a silent storm off it. A rising star, yes, but one running straight toward the truth, not the spotlight. He wasn't out chasing fame. He was pulling back the curtain, asking the questions no one else dared, creating space between himself and Cosby's kingdom. And that made him dangerous. Raven says Cosby didn't just resent Malcolm, he feared him. While Cosby's perfect facade was cracking under whispers and lawsuits, Malcolm's reputation was getting shinier by the second. No parties, no scandals, no dirt. Just talent, class, and integrity, and in Cosby's world, that kind of clean light, it needed to be dimmed fast. He was becoming the people's champ, the kind of role model parents actually wanted their kids to look up to, and Cosby, oh, he couldn't stand it. Raven says he'd roast Malcolm Jamal Warner behind his back, calling him Saint Theo like it was an insult, said he needed to be put in his place. But then everything shifted. Raven says the vibe on set changed the second Malcolm started pulling away from Cosby's orbit. He was skipping press junkets, rejecting certain scenes, refusing to play along, and then the whisper started. Malcolm was planning to go public, to expose what really went down behind those sitcom smiles. And just like that, he vanished. Costa Rica, a so-called vacation turned deadly. The official version, Malcolm drowned, easy, tidy, tragic. But Raven? She's not buying that bedtime story. She says he didn't just die, he was erased. And the scariest part? Everyone around him went full ghost mode. No press, no pushback, no questions, just radio silence, and that silence? That's what's kept Raven awake for years. Because she remembers exactly what Cosby told her, you'll disappear just like Malcolm will. And now, the dots are connecting, and not just for her, for us, too. Because Raven's truth bomb isn't just about groping and threats. It's unraveling a cover-up buried deep in the Hollywood archives. She says Malcolm was on the edge of dropping a bomb, something huge. She doesn't know exactly what it was. But whatever he had up his sleeve, it was enough to get him wiped off the map. One moment still haunts her. Years ago, they were on set between takes. Just the two of them. Malcolm leaned in and said, "One day, I'm going to say something. I just need to make sure they can't touch my family first." Then, he walked off like it was nothing. But when the news of his death hit, that memory slammed into her like a freight train. Because she knew he never got the chance. And here's where things take a turn into the truly sinister. Raven says after Malcolm died, Cosby called her out of the blue. No condolences, no small talk. Just one chilling line. "Now, do you understand why we don't challenge power?" Click, that was it. That call shattered whatever was left of her silence. She packed her bags, vanished from the spotlight, and cut the cord with Hollywood until now. Because eventually, the guilt got louder than the fear. The whispers turned into screams. And she's not the only one talking anymore. Sources from the old Cosby set, editors, makeup artists, interns are crawling out of the shadows, anonymously backing up her claims. All of them saying the same thing. Cosby ruled that set with an iron fist and a dark agenda. People saw things. People looked the other way. And Malcolm? He was asking all the wrong questions, the kind that make powerful men sweat. So really, it was only a matter of time. But here's the real question. Why is there still no serious investigation into his death? Why were his autopsy results locked away like national secrets for weeks? And why did Cosby's legal team start firing off cease and desist letters to any blog that dared link his name to Malcolm's death? Because someone out there is working overtime to bury the truth. But guess what? Raven Symoné is done playing Hollywood's silence game. In the final gut punch of her interview, her voice cracked by the fire. It blazed. "I didn't speak up then. I was scared. But I'm not scared anymore." Cosby didn't just hurt her, he hurt others. And she's not mincing words. She believes he's responsible for Malcolm's death. But this time, Raven isn't walking in alone. She's got lawyers, she's got witnesses, and allegedly, she's sitting on a goldmine. Old voicemails from Cosby himself, the threatening kind. She's not just tearing down a man, she's pulling the mask off an entire machine that sheltered him for decades. And just when you think the story can't get any darker, buckle up. Because part 2 dives into leaked calls, deleted footage, backdoor deals, and a final message Malcolm tried to send just days before he died. So now it's crystal clear Raven Symoné didn't just step forward waving a vague accusation. She came armed with a name, a motive, and a warning that's ringing louder than any courtroom make ever could. "I believe Bill Cosby orchestrated Malcolm Jamal Warner's murder." And guess what? She's not alone. After Raven's expose hit the internet like a sledgehammer, the whispers mutated into a full-on digital manhunt. Cast members started wiping old photos. Publicists suddenly forgot how to form sentences. And then boom, the footage dropped. Oh yes. An anonymous tipster from NBC's archival vault blew the lid off. There was a video, accidentally recorded, never meant to see the light of day. In it, Cosby and Malcolm, face to face, locked in a heated showdown just months before Malcolm was mysteriously cut from a planned Cosby Show reunion. The official excuse, the footage was corrupted, lost, unusable, until suddenly it wasn't. A blurry clip popped up on a burner Reddit account and vanished just as fast. But not before internet sleuths snatched screenshots and timestamps like digital bloodhounds. What did it show? Cosby, leaning in close, jaw tight, eyes blazing. Malcolm, arms folded, not backing down. No audio. But a former tech on set later whispered what he heard that day. Cosby said, "You talk, and you're done, and trust me, that wasn't the end of it." Word on the street is, Malcolm Jamal Warner wasn't just speaking truth, he was documenting it. Reports say he kept a digital journal encrypted, password protected, packed with voice memos and locked files. He even called it his life insurance. Told a friend straight up, "If anything happens to me, this is what they'll need." And guess what? The day after his death, that journal pulled a vanishing act. Poof, gone from his phone, gone from his iCloud, wiped from his backup laptop like it never existed. Cops called it clean, no foul play, but the data logs tell a different story. His cloud was accessed from a Los Angeles IP just 6 hours after he died, while his wife and daughter were still stuck in Costa Rica. Now here's the kicker: property records show that IP painted blocks away from a home owned by a private trust, tied to one of Cosby's former lawyers. Coincidence? Raven's not buying it, and honestly, neither are we. So what was Malcolm about to blow the lid off? Buckle up. According to a whistleblower inside Cosby's old production office, Malcolm was digging deep, asking for sealed contracts, old financials, and backdoor memos. Why? Because he allegedly discovered Cosby's company was laundering money through shell corporations. And not just any shell companies. Some of them had Raven's name stamped on the paperwork. He thought we were all being used, Raven said, and if that's true, Malcolm wasn't just a threat to Cosby's ego, he was a threat to the entire operation. Cosby had all their names, their signatures, their likenesses trapped in contracts none of them ever actually read. And Malcolm, he was done playing along. He'd already contacted a media attorney, handed over some of the documents, and was allegedly setting up a private, off-the-record interview with an independent journalist. But that bombshell interview? It never happened, because just days later, Malcolm was dead. And now we hit the part of the story where things go from shady to downright terrifying. A voicemail was allegedly recovered from a burner phone Malcolm used for his most private convos. That message leaked anonymously to a podcast under tight security. The speaker's voice was distorted, but that didn't stop internet sleuths. They analyzed every cadence, every pause, every vocal fingerprint, and the conclusion? Fans are convinced it was Bill Cosby. The message said, "This isn't a threat, it's advice. Walk away now. Don't let that girl get in your head. This isn't your story to tell." That girl, Raven. Was Malcolm planning to go public in support of Raven Symoné? Was he ready to back her up and blow the roof off Hollywood's dirtiest secrets? Because if so, it explains everything: the motive, the timing, the fear, and why his life ended the way it did. Clean, quiet, erased. Malcolm's death wasn't just sudden, it was wrapped up to clean, to quiet and weight of fast. But that's how power works. It protects itself. And Cosby, he's been swimming in silence for decades, silence bought with money, wrapped in pure spin, and enforced by Hollywood's unspoken rules. Let's not forget, this is the same man accused by over 60 women of assault and manipulation. Yet somehow, he danced around accountability for years, according to Raven Symoné. That wasn't luck. It was leverage. She says his power wasn't just financial, it was political, legal, and deep down dirty. You don't survive that many scandals unless you've got dirt on people, she said. Cosby had names, files, secrets. He wasn't just protected, he was untouchable until now. But here's the question that's making everyone squirm. Was Malcolm Jamal Warner murdered to bury a truth bigger than anyone imagined? And if that's the case, what else was hiding in that encrypted journal? Because hold on, there's another twist in the saga. Malcolm's mother, who hadn't spoken to the press in years, issued a cryptic statement through her family's rep just days after Raven went public. It read, "My son lived with purpose and left with unfinished business. But that business will not be buried, chilling, deliberate, loaded." And now, sources say Ice Cube isn't just watching from the sidelines. He's funding an independent investigation, private security, forensic analysts, even former FBI agents, all tasked with revisiting the scene, retracing the digital trail, and dragging the buried truth back into the light. Because, according to insiders, Ice Cube received an email from Malcolm just 3 days before he died, just 3 days before his death. Malcolm Jamal Warner sent an email with the subject line, "If something happens to me, tell the truth anyway." The message body, completely empty except for one chilling attachment, rjl.zip. The file was corrupted when opened, but metadata confirmed it was created on a MacBook Pro registered to Malcolm's production company, the same laptop that mysteriously vanished after his so-called drowning. So now the real questions begin. Where's the laptop? Who wiped the journal? And why did Cosby suddenly contact Raven Symoné again right after Malcolm's death? This isn't just a hunch, this is a damn pattern, and Raven, she's done letting the silence win. In a recent live stream, with tears in her eyes and fire in her voice, Raven declared, "They told me I'd never work again. They told me I was crazy. They told me to shut up or I'd end up like him. But I'm not quiet anymore. I'm not crazy. I'm the voice they tried to erase, and now I'm screaming, and the internet, oh, it heard her loud and clear." Twitter's ablaze. Hashtags like hashtag justice for Malcolm and hashtag Raven exposed Cosby are trending across the globe. Old Cosby Show clips are being pulled apart frame by frame by digital detectives hunting for hidden clues. And Hollywood, it's sweating bullets because if Raven's right, and Malcolm's death wasn't an accident, then the industry's dirtiest secrets are about to blow sky high. If Raven Symoné is right and Malcolm Jamal Warner's death was murder masked as misfortune, then no. One's legacy is safe. Not Cosby's, not the networks, not the execs, producers, or so-called friends who knew and stayed conveniently silent. But don't blink because it gets darker. That missing laptop. It might not be missing at all. A former security contractor from a New York storage facility just dropped a bombshell. He says he was paid under the table to move sensitive electronics for a client listed as Pudding LLC. Sounds harmless, right? Well, that company turns out to be a now-defunct shell corporation once owned by, you guessed it, a firm tied directly to Cosby, and on the inventory sheet, Malcolm's initials. That's not a fluke. That's a threat wrapped in paperwork, which brings us to the final, jaw-dropping piece of the puzzle. The last breadcrumb, the biggest leak yet, and the most damning proof that Raven's not just ranting, she's telling the truth. We've unpacked the threats, the distorted voicemail, the ghosted journal, the corrupted zip file, the laptop, stashed by shell companies. But now we're diving past the headlines. Because this isn't just about Raven, Malcolm, or even Cosby anymore. This is about a system, a well-oiled machine built to shield predators, bury secrets, and destroy anyone who threatens the illusion. And Raven, she's not backing down, she's at the front line, swinging at giants with every truth they tried to erase. Got it? Let's rewind to the days right after Malcolm Jamal Warner's death. The media, they moved fast, too fast. Beloved actor tragically drowns while vacationing with family. That was a headline. No questions, no deep dives, just airbrushed sympathy and cold mechanical condolences. But backstage, it was pure chaos. A studio insider spilled that NBC held emergency meetings not to mourn Malcolm but to spin the narrative. Why? Because his name wasn't just linked to Cosby. It was entangled in a web of ongoing litigation over residuals, intellectual property, and sketchy syndication deals with international networks. Malcolm wasn't just preparing to take down Cosby. He was gearing up to blow the whistle on the very network still making millions off reruns while pretending they had cut ties with Cosby ages ago. That made him a liability, a walking threat. Raven revealed that just weeks before his trip to Costa Rica, Malcolm told her, "I'm done protecting these people. I don't care anymore. I'm going to say everything even if it ruins me." She begged him to be careful. He looked her dead in the eyes and said, "If anything happens, you speak. You finish what I started." And now, that's exactly what she's doing. But not everyone's clapping for Raven Symoné since she broke her silence. The blowback has been loud and legal. She's reportedly been slapped with cease and desist letters, hit with a contract violation notice from her own former management team, and even threatened with a lawsuit by a legacy production company still making money off Cosby's show reruns. Translation: they're trying to muzzle her just like they did Malcolm. But here's a twist: it's not working because this time the world's watching. And now, even former castmates are poking their heads out, some with backup, others with betrayal. Let's talk Tempest Bledsoe, aka Vanessa Huxtable. 2 days after Raven's expose lit the internet on fire, Tempest went live on Instagram and said nothing, just stared into the camera for 10 long, tense minutes. Then, she dropped one sentence. "Y'all don't know the half of it. Stream over." Was it a confirmation? A silent scream? A warning? Whatever it wasn't nothing. And if that didn't raise eyebrows, a now-deleted tweet from a former show writer sure did. They laughed when Malcolm said he was going to expose it all. They're not laughing now. Everything is coming apart. Even the court system's starting to stir. Insiders say Raven is preparing to testify behind closed doors as part of a sealed civil case. That's now reportedly digging back into Malcolm's estate, his finances, and his final days. Financial records, personal emails, and every crumb of communication Malcolm left behind are now under the microscope. What started as a quiet financial dispute has reportedly exploded into a full-blown wrongful death investigation. Why? Because private investigators uncovered some disturbing irregularities in Malcolm's official Costa Rican death report, like a suspiciously conflicting time of death, a mysteriously missing toxicology report, and get this, a 48-minute surveillance blackout in the hotel where he was staying. So where was Malcolm during that blackout? Who did he meet? And how was his hotel room accessed 3 separate times with a master key card after he was already pronounced dead? The Costa Rican authorities wrapped the case in just 36 hours. But now, thanks to international pressure and relentless U.S. investigators, they're being forced to quietly reopen it. Meanwhile, Raven Symoné isn't just talking, she's documenting. She's dropping a short-form docuseries titled "They Tried to Silence Me." And in the trailer, she doesn't hold back. This isn't revenge, she says. This is protection for the next girl. The next Malcolm. The next kid told to shut up and smile while the monster claps from the director's chair. And then boom, she drops the biggest bomb yet. Voicemails, off-the-record conversations, and an unreleased interview Malcolm himself recorded on his personal phone. Just 5 days before his death, she says it's sealed for now for legal reasons, but she's ready to turn it over to prosecutors the moment they're ready to listen. The truth is coming, and when it does, Raven doesn't want apologies. She wants them running, shaking, hiding, because this time, she's not fighting alone. She's got backup from the one person who's been silent for far too long. Malcolm Jamal Warner's mother. In a raw, heart-wrenching interview with Rolling Out, she didn't mince words. My son didn't drown. My son didn't fall. My son didn't die. My son was taken. And the people who did it, they know who they are. That wasn't a theory. That was a warning shot. Loud, clear, and loaded. So let's zoom out, because this isn't just about one man or one scandal-ridden sitcom. This is about a machine. A system built to protect power, no matter how poisonous. A system that sells smiles and studio laughter while it chews up young black talent, spits them out, and buries the questions they dared to ask. Raven isn't just calling out Cosby for murder, she's dragging out the entire legacy of manipulation, silence, and fear he stood on. And Malcolm, he's not just a victim anymore. He's become a symbol of truth, of courage, of a man who peered behind Hollywood's velvet curtain and died before he could reveal what he saw. So we ask again, and louder this time, why did Cosby allegedly say you'll disappear like Malcolm? Who accessed Malcolm Jamal Warner's digital files just hours after he died? Why was his encrypted journal wiped clean and replaced with a single, chilling folder titled Shut It? And why is NBC reportedly losing its mind over Raven Symoné's legal team, digging into decades-old documents? Because, baby, let's be clear, this isn't the end. This is the beginning of the storm, and Raven, she just lit the fuse. So now that you've heard it all, what do you believe? Was Malcolm's death just another tragic twist in the Hollywood machine? Or was it a silent execution, carefully staged and buried under decades of power, fear, and those fake, studio-approved smiles? Do you believe Raven? Do you think Cosby's legacy was nothing more than a mask hiding something sinister this whole time? Tell us in the comments, because this isn't just a video, it's a reckoning. And your voice, it matters. Share this with someone who still thinks The Cosby Show was just wholesome family fun. Let them see what's been hiding behind the applause. And don't forget, if this shook you, hit that like button and subscribe for more raw, unfiltered truth they never wanted you to hear. The silence ends right here, and trust we're not done digging.